Hi, I'm Bryan Snelson. I'm one of the co-authors of Financial First Aid for Canadian Investors. The Wall Street Journal recently ran a front-page story chronicling this decade as the worst decade for stocks in more than a century. And the impetus behind Financial First Aid for Canadian Investors is to teach investors, individual investors specifically, how to avoid some of the more common pitfalls that an individual investor is likely to face in their career and benefit from the mistakes of others. In other words, avoid the catastrophic losses that can set you back in your retirement planning. The impetus behind Financial First Aid for Canadian Investors is to help individual investors learn from the mistakes of their colleagues. In other words, there are a whole series of common errors that individual investors have made that Michael Graham, Cindy David, and I have noticed over our careers as investment advisors and investment counselors that we'd like to chronicle and make sure that people learn from. There's also an opportunity for people to profit from the mistakes of others. In other words, to pick up fallen knives, as one of the chapter headings is in this book. The book is divided into three sections. The first section, Diagnosis, helps investors, helps readers to understand what happened in this decade. This decade has been bookended by a couple of savage bear markets. Where did people go wrong? What were some of the errors of omission and commission that investors made? Knowing where the problems lay is half the battle in diagnosing the problems. The next section, the middle section of the book, helps people understand what they can do about the problems that occurred in the first section of the book. So a series of prescriptions, if you will, to help people heal wounded portfolios. And then the third section of the book, you might call it prescriptions for staying healthy or for clean living as an investor, gives you some ideas such as investment policy statements, asset allocation strategies, how to select a good advisor, what to look for in an advisory relationship, all the skill sets, all the disciplines that investors need to make sure that they avoid problems along the way in their career as an investor and to maintain healthy portfolios, maintain consistency so that when the time comes that you need to lean on your money to provide you for a future income, that money will be there for you. Financial First Aid for Canadian Investors. It's a book written specifically for the Canadian individual investor, available in better bookstores everywhere.